about 15 minutes' time, but it's time we met our special guests.
How long has it been since we had an adventure? How long has it been since we swam in the sea? How long has it been since we climbed to the cliff tops and dreamed about all we can be?
This is local duo Elizabeth and Jameson.
The hours seem like days without you, please. The hours seem like days without you, me. Did you have a plan or just disappear? Oh, the hours seem like days without you, me.
Their debut album, Northern Shores and Stories, has just been released.
But we'll never understand why you couldn't take her hand. No, we'll never understand. Just to stop her from falling down.
We previewed 3 songs and spoke to them a year ago, and since then they've been busy writing and recording as well as gigging. So I've been eagerly waiting for them to finish the album, and I'm delighted we can talk to Hannah and Griff now. They join us from their home in Bedford. Hello.
Hello, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Recap the starting point then for this very ambitious project. The songs are based on your visits to the Yorkshire coastal town of Whitby. Why Whitby?
Basically, we just really enjoy the place. There isn't any deeper connection. Honestly, it's just a wonderful place to visit, and that's really what inspired us. Lots of stories we thought that could be found there, lots of interesting figures, whether they're famous or lesser known, and lots of musical things linked to the area as well, actually, when you start looking.
We struck on the idea of an album and wanting to place it somewhere. And Hannah's first experience of a folk festival was stewarding at Whitby Folk Week, and we just decided on it. And after one recce and seeing how rich the place was, it was just easy from then on out to keep on writing, really. Every time we would go for a recce and research the song we were in the middle of, it would snowball and create another 2-3 big ideas for songs that way.
We just acted a bit like people exploring a place and aiming to find out interesting facts and things about a place that's just so fun to walk around and explore. Lots of hidden corners and things that aren't necessarily well known. The Captain Cook Memorial Museum is definitely a place I think, most tourists maybe, if they're going to Whitby, would make a stop off there. And that was just a place rich in ideas and stories and so many original artefacts and things to look through. I mean, there was so much there. You could have, like Griff said, you could have just written a whole album about him, I'm sure, obviously. So there were ideas everywhere, and sometimes where you didn't expect to find them, which was really exciting. Going into lots of places where you can eat and drink lovely food and drink. We seem to have so many ideas from visiting these places. There was a cafe that we loved to visit, and every time we've been in there, and it's called The Singing Kettle, and it's right down by the harbour, but it's quite hidden in this little alleyway. It's very tiny. I think it opens at something like 4 o'clock in the morning or something.
3.
Was it 3 o'clock? That's where we were sitting, listening to the chatter and locals and sort of absorbing the atmosphere. And we read this article in the paper which ended up inspiring How Long Has It Been? So we didn't expect to find that idea there, but we were just absorbing the general atmosphere, and it led to that idea.
You also, of course, went into the public houses and the hostelries. Tell us the story that's behind the song Bottomless Beer.
We were in this local pub again. I quite enjoy trying local ales and things of where we go on holiday or just for trips. Normally if there's a brewery or something like that, or local businesses in general, we do try to support them. And so Whitby has this wonderful brewery, and it's up on the cliffs near to the Abbey. And I noticed that this pub had one of their ales on tap, and I thought, I'm going to try a local ale that's brewed right here in the town. At this particular pub, the lady put down my half pint of this local ale, and I'd also asked for a cup of tea for Griff, who was driving. And as she put down the drink, she said, you get free refills with that. And I honestly thought that she was referring to my beer. I think it was obviously completely wishful thinking, but in fact she was referring to the cup of tea. And when I discovered this, obviously, it was disappointing, but probably for the best.
Well, it's a lovely up-tempo song. This is Elizabeth and Jameson and Bottomless Beer.
Went to the pub on Monday, couldn't believe what I saw. Every person in the place all rolling on the floor. I asked what they'd been drinking, was met with a drunken cheer. They said, grab yourself a bottomless bottle of beer. Went back to the pub on Tuesday, haggard from the night before. I drank so much I can't recall, my memory's still unsure. There where I'd been sitting, though it wasn't at all quite clear. There it was, the bottomless bottle of beer. On Wednesday we were still drinking, Thursday more of the same. And when it came to the Friday night, I only had myself to blame. Only had myself to blame. Oh, let me start again. Back to the pub on Sunday, my head was still quite sore. Thought I'd get myself a brew and swore to drink no more. Found I had no money, it was just as I had feared. There's no such thing as a bottomless bottle of beer.
BBC Three Counties Radio, and we're talking to Hannah Elizabeth and Griff Jameson about their brand new album. It's their debut album as a duo. It's called Northern Shores and Stories. I get the feeling that you live, breathe, eat and sleep music. Did you do lots of reworking and rewriting of songs if you felt you weren't happy with them, or were you able to put them together in quite a quick fashion, so to speak?
I feel like there's maybe a few phases to the songs that we've written. Pretty much all of them, I suppose, began at home with little ideas. Often, Griff would pick up his guitar and out would come a little riff or a little idea, and then we'd work on it together. They did do most of their forming, I would say probably at home.
Yeah.
But then when we took them into the studio to record with Stephen McLaughlin, who's our producer, and he also does lots of guesting on our album as a musician, he actually reworked a few of the songs with us in terms of arrangements, and having that new pair of ears to listen to them once they'd been gigged and we'd got used to them in a live format, he sometimes came and threw these ideas at us, which at first we thought, oh my gosh, I never thought of doing that.
Yeah.
They might have been structural or instruments we could use, things like that. So some of them really took their final studio shape at the time of recording, I'd say. I think we've got a lot to thank Stephen for. He really produced this CD to such a wonderful high standard. He's made it sound exactly, if not better, than we hoped.
So do you feel that the producer has got more out of you as performers? It's improved your singing and it's improved your playing, and you've gotten to a new level now.
I think we worked so well together. I think just the right amount of friction was there. So if we brought the bare bones of a song, he would dissect it and break it down. And if we were unshakable in our idea, then it was obviously the right idea. But if it made it a bit more malleable and it became a different vibe and a different sound at the other end, it obviously was meant to be, and we were shakeable, so to speak.
I think it's important to be challenged. And at this stage, we really are growing. We've been growing for the last few years, and it was quite a fitting way to continue our growth, actually. We did challenge ourselves in the studio. I certainly felt challenged in the best possible way. Stephen did these wonderful string arrangements, and you can hear some of those arrangements on them. And really, Stephen was amazing at coming up with those. Sometimes on the spot, he would be working out the string arrangement, and then we would record it, me layering up the violin. So we were kind of like a mini string orchestra. And I just wouldn't have done that on my own. I don't think we would have done that. And it's just made some of the songs just sound so epic. I definitely just wouldn't have had it any other way now.
And a good example of that is the song Dance in the Shadows. That was inspired by a visit to a grave in St Mary's Church in Whitby.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fantastic example of some wonderful strings that Stephen arranged. I don't think it's very widely known. We certainly had never heard of it before. This very special grave with this epitaph on in St Mary's Church in the graveyard up there on the cliffs. We just stumbled upon it, and we read the epitaph on this grave, and then we looked up the people that it was referring to, and it went from there, and it creates this wonderful atmosphere that really lends itself to this song.
And those are the bells of St Mary's Church.
They're all wrapped in mourning, though the sunlight is gone. They can't see us looking till their grieving is done. I'm so glad you're with me, holding hands in the dark. Watch them climb ever closer, each of them playing their part. I can't stay here without you. We said that we'd see this through. In life and death, we both agree. So dance in the shadows with me. Dearest heart, can you feel 12 lonely tears falling brief? All of the life that we gave them, now see them march on beneath. I'm at peace when I'm with you. I didn't us through. In life and death, we both agree, so just dance. Won't you dance? Oh, can we dance? Say that you will dance
Isn't that terrific?
in the shadows with me.
Inspired by a visit to a churchyard in Whitby, in North Yorkshire. That's Elizabeth and Jameson and a song called Dance in the Shadows from their new album, their debut album, Northern Shores and Stories, featuring Hannah Elizabeth on vocals, violin and piano accordion, Griff Jameson on vocals and acoustic guitar, Claire Bostock on cello, Dave Sutherland on double bass, and producer Stephen McLaughlin on harpsichord. More from Hannah. I mentioned it's been a really ambitious project and a lot of thought and time and research has gone into this. Beautifully crafted songs, lovely storytelling, melodies, harmonies, varied use of instruments, different song styles if you like, of course, and tempos, and you each share the lead vocals. Beautifully arranged and produced. I think you have pulled it off wonderfully. And it's
thank you.
been well worth the wait, I must say, really. So I think you can feel justifiably proud of it.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Cheers. We're really proud of how it's finished, really, and I think we're particularly pleased when we get a review through and they've really got on board with it and researched what we're doing. And when they appreciate the research that we've done, it makes it quite worthwhile. And when you get feedback from people who've supported us from the start, there's no real bigger buzz, really. I think a lot of people thought we were taking a risk, but I think we knew what we wanted to do, and just focusing on the project itself has just led it to blossom, really. And we've been really lucky with some of our opportunities that we've had as a duo.
The other fantastic thing about this is that you've got a large sleeve of the CD, and that unfolds, and inside there's a booklet with the lyrics on and information about who the players are, who the musicians are, plus wonderful photographs. So you've gone to a lot of trouble to get all the artwork right, and this album not only sounds fantastic, it looks brilliant too. And you don't often get this in the modern world, do you?
Well, I think it's because both Hannah and I are quite avid collectors of music, whether it's a CD or really vinyl. To have something to hold that goes hand in hand with the music on it, I think is always a big deal.
I love having information on songs when I want to read more about the inspiration for them. So we've tried to make a CD in a whole package that we both would appreciate, hoping that other people will appreciate it too. We always tell the story of these songs when we play them live, so we do introduce them and we're able to share with that audience where the song came from, and hopefully just because they're listening from a CD, we'd like them to have the same introduction, I suppose.
And the painting on the front has got some of the houses and the path down to the coastline, and you can see the sea. Who's painted this?
That's a chap called Jack Burrell, who works for his company Bell Illustration.
Yeah, Jack has done all of the artwork throughout, so all of those paintings, sketches, he designed all the artwork for us, and he was the same as Stephen at SMAC Studios. He just completely got behind the idea 100%, and he seemed as excited as we were, and so we did work so well with him, and he was just fantastic. Absolute talent, and I would recommend people to look up his work.
And I guess, really, now, you perhaps would like one day to live by the sea, because you've written a song, Live by the Sea.
Yes, I think throughout our visits there, we both fell in love with the coastline, but I think it's just the sea in general. We love going to a little seaside town whenever we get a bit of a chance, really.
We're living quite far away from any seaside, aren't we? We're sort of bang in the middle of the country where we are, really, so it always feels like an adventure.
When nowhere love, can we live by the sea? Can we leave this old rat race and learn to be free? The dream could be real, so just hold on to me. So come with me, darling, and live by the sea. We don't have to sit here always doing things that we have grown used to. We're too busy dreaming just stop for a minute? I think I've reached my limit. I wanna run away sometimes. Baby, just stop for a minute and take another breath. We can make it all worthwhile. When nowhere love, can we live by the sea? Can we leave this old rat race and learn to be free? The dream could be real, so just hold on to me. So come with me, darling, and live by the sea. Take a chance and dream with me. This isn't all that it can be. We'll get there. Listen to the winter tide calling, asking us to stay. Can we just stop for a minute? I think I've reached my limit. I wanna run away sometimes. Baby, just stop for a minute and take another breath. We can make it all worthwhile. When nowhere love, can we live by the sea? Can we leave this old rat race and learn to be free? The dream could be real, so just hold on to me. So come with me, darling, and live by the sea. Can we just stop for a minute? I think I've reached my limit. I wanna run away sometimes. Baby, just stop for a minute and take another breath. We can make it all worthwhile. When nowhere love, can we live by the sea? Can we leave this old rat race and learn to be free? The dream could be real, so just hold on to me. So come with me, darling, and live by the sea. When nowhere love, can we live by the sea? Can we leave this old rat race and learn to be free? The dream could be real, so just hold on to me. So come with me, darling, and live by the sea. When nowhere love, can we live by the sea? Can we leave this old rat race and learn to be free? The dream could be real, so just hold on to me. So come with me, darling, and live by the sea. Take my hand, darling, and live by the sea.
A longing and a hankering to live by the sea. And I imagine we've all felt that at some stage in our lives. That was Elizabeth and Jameson here on BBC Three Counties Radio. So, Hannah and Griff, I imagine it was really exciting to take delivery of all of the CDs. But of course your official album launch had to be cancelled last night. And you won't be able to play live for some time, so you can't go out on the road to promote the album.
It was lovely to receive the physical CDs, and obviously with this current situation was not known it was coming when we finished the CD back in February. We didn't realise that we were racing against time, but at that time obviously we were oblivious to it, to get the physical CDs to us so that we could post them out to people, and we didn't know that we wouldn't have gigs to take them to. So we're very, very grateful for the good fortune, really, that we finished the album in time to get it physically produced and out to us, and then we were able to post out to all the wonderful people that pre-ordered over the last year, I suppose, and to new fans and new people who have since ordered it online. So we're very fortunate to be able to share it in this way, to be honest.
I think we've cancelled in excess of 30 gigs at the moment. Thankfully, so many of them are just postponing till next year. And because we've got the CD, we're able to send it out. I think we're lucky enough to keep that coming in, if you know what I mean. We've done lots of radio. We've transmitted a live session from our front room. We've also shot a couple of isolation videos just to keep ourselves busy, really.
Have you been able to play any of these songs to people of Whitby?
Yeah, we've been interacting online with quite a lot of people, especially at the moment. So we've been in conversations recently to try and pin down a kind of virtual performance to happen sometime this year at Whitby. We did plan to do a performance actually at the Whitby Jet Museum. The lovely people there were so interested in what we were doing, they suggested that we do a few live gigs there and we could promote our album, and that would have been in August, and we were going to do it during Folk Week, and that's towards the end of August. However, the Folk Week has sadly been postponed. However, we are hoping that if restrictions allow, Griff and I may travel to Whitby in August and do a gig at the Whitby Jet Museum, and we're going to stream it live, so we won't have an audience in the place because it may not be safe to do that yet. However, we will film it, record it, and basically live stream it so that it's live from Whitby.
We had a few local publications get in touch when they saw what we were doing online, so for it to be accepted by the area is a big buzz as well.
So I suppose it's a bit of a love letter to the town. We don't live there, nor have we ever lived there. In a way, we are just tourists. However, it is loved by so many people. I feel like the songs that we've written just enhance why. And hopefully the people of the town will appreciate that we've put a lot of love into the music because we have a lot of love for the area.
We've been speaking to Hannah Elizabeth and Griff Jameson from Bedford, going under the name of Elizabeth and Jameson, and their debut album, Northern Shores and Stories, has just been released. Tell us about the last song on the album, if you would, because it's the longest song, but it's got the shortest lyrics. It's called Black Amber, and again, I really love this. This is very atmospheric, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's the only track on the album where there's electric guitar. Every other instrument is pretty much organic and, acoustic. When we researched Whitby Jet after a visit to the Whitby Jet Museum, we found out about the history of the alleged magical properties, and that kind of lent itself well, and we wanted to make an otherworldly sound. There's just lots of electric guitar, and then there's lots of our vocals on it as well, isn't there? I think we wanted to really immerse people in the myths and legends of the area as well with that, and introducing the sounds of the gulls and the waves and letting it kind of wash over you like the waves, I think, was the aim at the end.
Congratulations on what I think is a fantastic project. Well completed, well worthwhile.
Cheers, thank you, Mike. Yeah, we're stoked with it, genuinely.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Thank you for following us over the last year or so and supporting it from its first little seeds.
great to have Elizabeth and Jameson on the programme. They put their heart and soul into this project. It's called Northern Shores and Stories. That was a song called Black Amber. And it's downloadable through all the usual streaming services, or you can order it via their website, elizabethandjameson.co.uk. They're also on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook and Instagram. I wish them well. They deserve to succeed, and they've worked so